The 2016 US presidential election is a very challenging election. It's challenging for the voters, half of which I think are probably going to flip coins about who to vote for. And it's been very challenging for astrologers due to the fact that the birth information we have is not really clear. Hilary's birth time is questionable. There's 3 times flying out there that are possibly correct. So when I started looking at the election with my normal Jaimini techniques that I've had such great success with in elections, I couldn't get anything to work with the past of Hilary. And I wasn't happy with any of the available times. And these Jaimini techniques are very time specific. If your time's off too much, they're just not going to work out accurately. But on accurate charts, they're infallible. But I didn't want to spend the time digging into Hilary's past and really get into the nitty-gritty of her history to be able to rectify the chart and spend all that time doing that. So instead of using my normal Jaimini techniques, I decided this year I'm going to try to predict the election using the card system, the birth card system that I call Cards of Truth. The reason being because this system, while it's best to have accurate birth time, if you don't know the birth time, you can do it pretty damn good. As long as you know if the person's born before sunrise or after sunrise on their birthday. So I spent a little time and I decided, based on a couple things with Hilary, I feel she was more likely born in the AM, before sunrise, okay? Now there's one time floating out there for her, 2:18 a.m. I don't think that's a very accurate time, but I do believe she was born before sunrise. So I'm using the 2:18 time, but I'm just paying attention to the fact that she's born before sunrise, and I'm not paying any attention to the factors like the lagna and things like that that might change at different times during the day. Okay, so let's see what prediction we're going to see here. I'm going to start with the 52-year period of Hilary. So she goes into her second and last 52-year period. She went down in 1999, and it'll continue to 2051. And this is going to give us a very broad outlook of some of the potentials that she can realize during this lengthy second half of her life. And that's the 8 of spades. Now, all eights are capable of giving an element of success. The 8 of spades can give success, but success where you're somewhat confined. So any success it gives you, there's going to be a lot of limitations imposed upon you. Hey, wait a minute. That kind of sounds like being the president of the United States, right? But more importantly, the moon, which rules the 8 of spades, is in the Queen of Diamonds, one of the powerful management cards and a royal card too. So that points to, yeah, there's the potential for her to have a lot of power, but power where she's constricted. And that she's already had an element of that. Any high political power in this modern world is a power where you have power, but there's only so much you can do. Even though you have all that power, you're still stuck with many limitations, which is an 8 of spades phenomenon. So this points to, yeah, it's possible for Hilary to have a presidency, and she's certainly already had power. But the presidency is a possibility in a very broad term sense. Now let's compare that to Donald. Donald, his 52-year period from 1998 to 2050, so his last 52-year period, is the moon card as well, as it is for everybody, and it's the 7 of hearts. 7 of hearts is an emotionally dissatisfied card. And what has Donald done? He's really pointed out and raised the voices of the people who are emotionally dissatisfied in the United States. For everyone who's just discontented, sick of the system, disgusted by everything, that's your 7 of hearts. And so he's aroused a lot of these emotions. But the 7 of hearts is not a power card. It's not a leadership card. It's a card of, emotional upheaval, emotional pain. So he's been the voice of the pain of the United States. Now the moon, which rules the 7 of hearts, is over in the Jack of hearts. A really nice card, a creative card, an invigorating card, a card of bringing out things, in this case feelings. So you see how Donald has stimulated all these feelings in his campaign. Feelings that are so powerful that a lot of people are considering voting for him out of an emotional reaction, even though God knows what would really happen if he became president. Well, not much, because any president is tied down by so many strings. They're basically, a big symbol with not much power. But the Jack of Hearts, while it's a card that can reach a lot of people, isn't the kind of card that's going to necessarily have political power. So I don't really see such great political power as much of a likelihood in Donald's chart based on this wide 52-year period. Okay? But we really need to look further, because these 52-year periods are very, very broad. And you can have some surprising little upswings during these times if everything else just lines up. So we're going to also look at his year. He's 70 years old now during the election. During his 70th year progress card, he's running a 7 of hearts. So see that? A 7 of hearts matches his 7 of hearts of the 52-year period. When you get those kind of matchings, you get a lot of energy, a lot of power to make things happen. So the 7 of hearts, this discontent, this emotional discontent and frustration that he's the symbol of in America, he's become a big power of that. The sun, who rules the 7 of hearts, is in the 7 of hearts with Saturn, who's not a politically powerful planet, and with Mercury, who rules, look at that, the Jack of Hearts again. So we can see how he's been such a powerful emotional stimulus in the United States country, where he's emotionally stimulated the segregation practically in the Americans' way of thinking. And it's all out of emotions. So he can emotionally impassion people, but that's his fate. That's what he's meant to do. This year is not showing a strong likelihood of having actual power. I don't want to discount it 100%, just 90%, because the sun is in the sun card, and the sun, of course, is the planet of power and kingship and presidency. But it's not super powerful in that 7 of hearts, because 7s especially are cards of disappointment, which means this can be a disappointment to Donald himself. Now Hilary, in the 2 a.m. time, which she's 69, her 69th year, she's got the King of Clubs as her year card. So it's a king. It's one of the planets of rulership. It's got the sun in it, one of the planets of rulership. Saturn, who rules the king, is over here in the sun card, the kingship card. Then her path is a 4 of diamonds path, which is a path of material stability. Well, if she could pull that off, that would be nice. And it's connected to her Mercury card, which has, and Mercury's in that King of Clubs again. So we see some more noble or kingship or rulership principles coming up, factors coming up in her 69th year, more so than we see in Donald. Donald has the sun in the sun card. Hilary's got the sun card, and the king. And kings and queens are the ones who run the show. So it's not looking very favorable so far, but we still want to look a little further and look towards the election itself. And this is the year spread for Hilary. This is the most important spread for determining what's going to happen to a person, 1 year at a time. During this year, she's got a Queen of Diamonds on her ecliptic card. So that means she's on the path of the Queen of Diamonds, a path of high management, which is what presidency is. And you'll notice she's running her moon card in her 52-year period, and the moon is in the Queen of Diamonds. So you see that synchronicity? This boosts the Queen of Diamonds and makes the Queen of Diamond a more powerful factor in her year. Okay? Then, during the election itself, let's see. Okay, queens have to do with, always related to, I won't even deal with that. So, during the election, okay, she's going to be running the 10 of spades in the sun card. So first she's running the sun card, which is a nice card to run. It's a 10 of spades. Well, 10s can give power sometimes. 10s are, ambidextrous. They can get their hands on anything. Spades are not necessarily the most successful political cards, So it's not a super strong card for her to win. However, the sun, which rules that card, and so she'll be under the influence of the sun during the election, the sun is in the Jack of Clubs. A competitive card, but not necessarily a rulership card. But luckily for her, the sun is with Mercury, and Mercury rules the King of Hearts this year. So that pulls in the King of Hearts to the sun. So you have a king, a rulership card, connected to the sun and to the election window. So that's a favorable factor for her to win the election. Let's see what Donald's running at the same time. Okay, Donald, during the election, will be running the Three of Hearts in the Mars card. That's a competitive position, but not one I think that is going to indicate a victory. And because there's no political power here. What's there is Uranus. Uranus rules the Jack of Spades. And the Jack of Spades is a card that's strong in itself. So what he's doing, he's expressing his strong ideas, his individuality, because that's what Uranus is there for. But this individuality will Jack of Spades him. Jack of Spades is the person that nobody cares about that has to find his own way. So the Jack of Spades is not a popular Jack. So he's just not going to be able to pull off the election during this window of, of the November election. All the cards are a little bit, or quite a bit out of his favor. Even if we go to the election day itself, and we look at this day, he's running an 8 of diamonds that day. That's a card of great power. It's related to Rahu. And Rahu is a 7 of diamonds. Not a politically powerful card, a card that can offer setbacks. And that what makes any 3 of diamonds day a possibly tough day or tough life, because there's this possibility for success through the number 8, but a possibility of disaster through the 8th planet Rahu. So it's a difficult incarnation, and in this case, it's a difficult day for Donald Trump. And his 10th cusp, which has to do with your great successes, and we can look at that in his card because his time's accurate, is falling in the Venus card, the 7 of clubs. And the 7 of clubs in the Venus card is a card of things not working out according to plan. Okay? So I don't think there's enough power here to give him any hope at the election. Now, Hilary's day on November 8th, for her it's an 8 of clubs day that day. 8 of clubs happens to be her Saturn card. Queen of clubs, sorry. It's a Queen of clubs day. Queen of clubs is also her Saturn card. And it's with Mars. She's running a 3 of hearts this day. So that's on the election day. She's on the path of 3 of hearts, which is a Mars-ruled card. And in the Mars card, she has the 10 of diamonds, a lucky card, with the sun, the king planet. Mars is over in the Queen, a rulership planet, and Mars is exalted at the time, what we call proud with the cards. You can see that here. So she can be proud of her success that day. Mars is also with the moon card, who's the king of clubs. And very importantly, the sun rules the ace of hearts. And see, her winning, she's about to do something for the first time, something that's never been done before. And that is a woman to be elected president in the United States. So for the first time to something happen, we want some aces there to make first time things. Well, her sun cards is the ace of hearts, which is in the Mars card, the important card for the day. And Mars is connected to a queen of clubs and a king of clubs, because it's with the moon who rules the king of clubs. So we see the face cards we need. We see the stimulation cards, the face cards that stimulate things, the jacks and Donald Trump. And sure, he is stimulating this election. He's the one who's making this election interesting and stimulating and helping people realize the potentials of the disasters that the United States has created for themselves. All by herself, Hillary's an utterly boring candidate, other than the fact that if she's elected, she'll be the first woman to be elected. Okay? Other than that, she hasn't created any feeling of different, of uniqueness. Trump has brought all the uniqueness, the new ideas, the new craziness, we'll call it, to the election. Because he's running all these jacks. But jacks don't win elections. They just stir the pot. It's the queens and kings, the aces and the tens that win the elections. And Hilary has all of those in all three spreads. So there's really no doubt in my mind that we will be celebrating not Hilary, but the first female president. And hopefully Hilary will rise to the role and do a good job. And maybe I'll talk about that later if I can take looking at it. Thank you. I was so glad being done looking at Hilary's chart there for a moment that I forgot I also wanted to quickly look at Tim Kaine's chart. So I'm going to continue with Tim Kaine. In his 52-year period, he's running the 5 of clubs in the moon card, and the moon is in the ace of spades. Not a wonderful political power thing. Well, obviously he's not running for president, but we do have an ace, which can always give some power. And more importantly, that moon is with Pluto, the king of diamonds. So that king of diamonds connected to the moon can give him some power. And it could also create some surprises that give him more power than he's going for right now. So he's in a very, very interesting 52-year period. Now in his 7-year period, he's currently 58 years old. He's running an ace of clubs. Okay, good. Another first, the first vice president maybe to the first female president. Okay, it's a first, right? The first vice president to serve under a female president. And that ace of clubs is with Mercury, which is ruling the queen of clubs, who is the, which can give some power and management. Queens are the managers, the people who take care of things. So we can say, yeah, there's some power here for him to become vice president during this election. During the 52-day period during which the election is being held of this year, he is running the Queen of Diamonds. Remember that card came up in Hilary's spread? She's the Queen of Diamonds this year. That card was coming up strong in her spread. And here it's coming up for him with the Sun and Saturn. Now that's kind of mixed. You never want to see Sun-Saturn together because Sun-Saturn means you feel bummed about things. Okay? You can't be happy with anything that happens during Sun-Saturn. So yes, what I'm saying is, no, he's not going to be happy with Hillary Clinton winning the election. Because honestly, looking at this, I don't think he really respects her. And I don't really think he likes her. Okay? Because these two planets of disrespect, the Sun and Saturn, are in the Queen of Diamonds, which is Hilary right now. Okay? But he's connected to her through Jupiter. Jupiter is in the Jack of Hearts, which is a planet of connections. And it's with Rahu, who rules the Queen of Spades, another Queen card. So he's running cards that are all dependent. During the election, he's running a card that's all revolving around the Queen, somebody's power, in a way that he's sort of frustrated. So I think he'll be happy that he was elected vice president. I think this Queen of Diamonds can do that for him. But I don't think he's happy with Hillary being president any more than most of the other people in America are. Okay? And if he doesn't believe that, then he'd call me up and tell me personally. But that's what I think. Okay? I don't think he's any more impressed and excited about Hillary winning than anyone else is going to be. So I wanted to point that out. Okay? Now, on the day of the election, November 8th, he's running a 6 of spades. And that 6 of spades is going to revolve around the card number 6, the Venus card, which is the Queen of Spades. See the Queen of Spades, Rahu coming in again? Which has Jupiter, which rules the King of Diamonds. So yeah, this will give him the vice presidency. But Venus is with Saturn, and it's with K2. Now, when you get Saturn, K2, and any other planet together, that planet becomes ashamed. And here we have Saturn, K2, and Venus. That means Venus is ashamed. Then we have Saturn, Sun, and K2. Now the Sun is ashamed. and so is Saturn. So he's, during the election, he's running ashamed planets that are very prominent in the spread. So he's literally ashamed, I think, my prediction about his mentality, to be the vice president of Hillary Clinton. Okay? He doesn't like her any more than, you know, the person you know who doesn't like her doesn't like her. Okay? But he's still going to become vice president because of her. But I'll tell you, he wished he didn't have to be part of her package. Okay, that's my prediction on Tim Kaine. But I see the power here to become the vice president. And maybe if I feel like playing with this election a little more down the road, I will want to look if maybe Pluto, ruling this King of Diamond over here, can axe Hilary and make him, you know, become president at some point over the next 4 years. So at some point, I might want to study his spread over the next 4 years and see if he has a more powerful year coming up, because there is some indication of great trouble going on during this time because moon's with Pluto. And by during this time, I mean an upset that gives him power, but that's in a 52-year window. Now I have to find out which one of those years could it be. If it's going to be one of the years in the next 4 years, then most certainly he will be able to take over the presidency from Hillary and serve his term as, you know, serve as president for a little while. So that's a remote possibility that I would have to look at further. But it's fun to spread rumors, and it's fun to get you guys to maybe focus on his chart a little bit over the next 4 years. Okay, thank you.